Hello, everyone. My name is Chaz Dunwoody. I am the Director of Sales here at Regal Wings, and I'd like to thank you for taking some time to learn a little bit more about our product. Regal Wings is the industry leader in air concierge service and really strives to maximize your client's budget with having the best return on investment in the premium air space. Our three brand pillars you'll find out throughout this presentation are service, support, and skill. And we hope to define how we make Airfare a breeze over the next few minutes here over the video. So who is Regal Wings? We are an air concierge service that began in 2006. We've been around for a little under 20 years at this point, with a few kind of iterations throughout our lifetime. Our primary business model is focusing on premium economy, business, and first class air for long haul travel over transatlantics and so on and so forth that way. Our number one destination is Europe, and the others fall in line with Asia, Africa, Australia, South America from there. I keep mentioning the word premium cabin air. Premium cabin air we define as premium economy, business, and first class airs on commercial airliners. We work with every major airline group, so ranging from the American Airlines such as Oneworld, SkyTeam, Star Alliance with Delta, American United, but it's a wide network of airlines as well too, ranging anywhere from JAL, Qantas, South African Airways, Emirates, Qatar, all of which we will have in-depth contracts with that not only will save your clients money in the long run, but also will earn you a return on investment in the form of commission as well. I do want to note that we do not accommodate economy airfare. We also do not accommodate airfare into Mexico, the Caribbean, or domestically as well. Our major business model looks at transatlantic, transoceanic air flights into Europe and other continents that way as well. But our major focus here is showing how our white glove service and really how we can make airfare as easy as possible for you to be working with in the travel sector today. So why Regal Wings? So working with us is a little bit unique in its element that we are a fully human research concierge team. Rather than going on a website, digging into airfares and so on and so forth, you'll work through a white label website, which is regalwings.com/quote for the first time when you work with us. From there, once you submit a quote, this goes to our extensive research concierge team, where you'll receive a quote back from us within anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes. That'll facilitate everything that you've disclosed in the request. So what really is the advantage of this is not only are you maximizing your time just because you're having someone do the research for you, you also can maximize your client's budget and return on investment by what was returned to you from Regal Wings by our white glove concierge team. We'll show a little bit more about that here in a moment, but the advantages as well, on top of the great pricing, commission structure, and the service that we offer, is our unparalleled support. So Regal Wings is an industry leader in the airfield with 24/7 support. So this is available to you as an advisor at any time. So let's say your clients are traveling from Phoenix to Budapest, connecting in Paris, and they're leaving in 72 hours or less. Let's say one of your clients falls and breaks a hip or so on and so forth. That would be a case for when you could call our emergency services and figure out what the best course of action would be. If it's outside of those emergency kind of parameters, we do ask for you to call in from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But getting back to the 24/7 service, this is available to you as a travel advisor at any time. I mentioned that 72-hour mark because that's when the 24/7 service then becomes available to your client. So your clients, let's say if they're going on that same flight routing, Phoenix, Paris, Budapest, and they know that they're going to misconnect or that they know that they're running into problems, they can call our emergency line, which is monitored by a Regal Wings employee 24/7, 365, that will get on the phone with them, that will walk through what's available to them, hold seats on the back end of a reservation until they land, so on and so forth that way. We also allow emails to our 24/7 supports while the client is in transit, where we can look up information for them, supply information to them and in real time to make sure they are made up to date on all the options that are available to them. Once the client lands, they can call us directly and we'll walk them off the cliff. Like I mentioned, in as I mentioned before, we really are service based. In the travel industry, it's not really the black and white that defines you; it's that gray area, and we really shine in this sector here too. Because once the client lands, they call us directly. We can go ahead and drill into the reservation, see what's available for them. We can hold seats, etc. That way, so we can support the airline at the same time. So once we kind of walk out a game plan for the client of record in Paris, they then can go to the first class lounge, business class lounge, and all the notes will be in the booking already. The agent will go ahead and make the switch and so on and so forth. So it's a flawless process for the client in terms of support, and you don't receive that oh so fun phone call at 3 a.m. All of those service calls come directly to us as well too. Simplified booking process. So airfare can be very cumbersome. It can be very challenging, and it really is one of those pieces in the travel industry that causes the most amount of headaches with the least amount of return. As I mentioned, we work off a white label website page. So you'd enter departure date, airport, destination. Are they flexible? What's their preferred airline group, and so on and so forth. And we do all the research for you. Once you go ahead and book with us the first time, you actually get paired up with a concierge reservation agent on our team, who then can become your go-to air service provider by emailing us directly. You'll receive all the contact information for your reservation agent, who then can be really integrated into your book of business. We have certain partners of ours who have our reservation team ping them with bookings as soon as they become available for a client's trip. Let's use example, a client's going on a safari in October of 2026. So that airfare would become available 330 days prior to that. So in November of 2025, the travel advisor would receive a quote for the airfare for their client safari without even asking, because they've integrated their book of business into the schedule of one of our reservation agents. So we really maximize that way as well. And then there's great returns. We have negotiated contracted rates, net fares, and so on and so forth that really allow for a return on investment that generally is a diminishing return in the airline industry as well. Net fares are really starting to come back even stronger starting in 2025. We do anticipate this becoming more regular as we move throughout the year, given the fact we had a very tumultuous year last year with American Airlines and United Airlines having NDC, but we really aren't affected by that moving forward in 2025, as we were having one of our best years ever at Regal Wings. So as I mentioned previously, we work in three major fare types: net fare, published fare, and contracted fare. A net fare is when we contract directly with an airline to have advantageous pricing where the markup is allowed. A markup is your amount of commission that you'll earn. Also, the markup can be zero. The markup can go all the way up to the published fare. You kind of have to weigh the option of what is the best return on investment for you and the return on investment for your client. So the above example shows the flights into Auckland and out of Sydney. Our net fare is around $8,600. The published fare is around 10 grand. As I mentioned, we are an industry leader in the premium cabin airspace. So if you look at competitor A here, this is a competitor of ours who focuses much more on volume, much more on economy airfare. So our scale and our buying power in this sector shows here we have $1,000 pricing advantage immediately off the top from a competitor. Then if you were to book directly with an airline, you're looking at a $1,400 pricing difference. So that $1,400 number is the total markup that you can move your client's net fare up to published. So the win-win for both parties in this situation, I'd recommend a markup around $700, $800, $900 just so your clients are saving about $500 plus on their airfare, where you're earning $900 on that here too. If you look at competitor A, there's only a $400 markup potential. So you really are seeing the biggest advantage with us on these business, first class, and premium economy fares. Emergency support, looking at no included fee. So that's a major part of our 24/7 support, is that it's complimentary. It's built into our services and so on and so forth that way. And then down the bottom, you have a dedicated reservation agent who will always be there for you, who you can pick up and call the phone to, and really develop a relationship with that way. It really is a lot how our industry works, as you work with people who you get to know, and it really drives a in-depth business partnership that goes years and so on and so forth. Our reservation team is extremely well trained, and the average tenure of one of our reservation advisors is about 8 or 9 years. So we retain really great talent who know how to work net fares, so on and so forth that way. The second fare I mentioned is a contracted fare. A contracted fare would be an example in this case, where the contracted fare would be about $9,600. So it's a little bit less than published, but we have an advantage there with pricing. The commission would then be built into that cost. So the $9,600, you don't have the market potential to go up to the $10,000 because of how the contracted fare is structured within our agreement. This will be disclosed to you once you receive quotes and confirmations from a reservation team, and I'll show you how that works in the next slide here. The last option we have is booking published fares. So published fares have a zero commission here, so you can add a ticketing fee or so on and so forth to earn a return on investment for you. The advantage of working with us, even on a published fare side, is if anything goes wrong. So that 24/7 service comes over with a Regal Wings booking regardless of the fare type. So if anything goes wrong, you avoid those phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, those frantic clients who are looking to get to their final destination, is all handled by us internally. So those 3 fare types really are an advantage of working with us overall. So looking at how the booking process works. So I mentioned this white label website, regalwings.com/quotes. So number 1 right here is a depiction of that page. So you'll enter departing from, going to, returning, how many passengers, what's your class of service you're looking for, are they flexible, are they looking for a stopover, so on and so forth. So we really collect as much information from here as possible. So number 2, I mentioned in the last slide, you receive all the contact information of the actual reservation agent who you'll be working with. This is depicted in the top right-hand sector of this email here. From there, all of the options of flights are shown beneath this. So looking at this flight, Las Vegas to San Salvador to Bogota. Let's say that's the option they wanted for the inbound. The outbound is then selected on the next page, showing, hey, how can we pair this up? What's the commission, so on and so forth. If you scroll down on the email that you receive, it shows how much your commission is, if it's a net, if it's a contracted fare, if it's published, and the potential markup if that's available as well too. So all that information is disclosed to you in the email process. Excuse me. So number 3 is our actual booking page. So what we do here is we actually ask you for detailed information about your agency, if you're a part of a host, so on and so forth. So for right here, it shows contact information for the advisor. So what you'll put in here will be your agency, host agency information, consortia, address, email, phone number. The next page then you go to is where you enter your passengers information. So in this case, married to Spain, email address, phone number here. We also will require passport number, frequent flyer number, and optional TSA PreCheck or global entry number. Just because the biggest misnomer with working for an air concierge partner is you won't receive your clients' amenities as they would be with frequent flyer points or mileage spend. You get all of that working with Regal Wings just on top of the service that we have as well too. Let's say your client's booking a Q suite with Qatar Airways and it concludes car and driver services. They would receive all of that as well too. Specific check-in areas, expedited security check-in, car and driver service or black car service at the airport if they book into that category of cabin. All of this is disclosed in the fare rules, which you'll see on the right-hand side of number 4 when you receive the e-ticket and a travel advisor invoice depicting all of this information. Once this confirmation is received and payment is received on our end, we also require, let me back up a little bit, we require a 2-step authentication process on our transactional page, just because we want to make sure that no fraud is had, and we're making sure that the credit card information is correct and the actual advisor and passenger are of note and of record on our part. Fraud is something we take extremely seriously, and this is our biggest security element in our booking process. Getting back to the confirmation, you'll receive all of the detailed information for your clients, including the record locator for the specific airline or airlines that they'll be able to use. We can also select seats, food, options of that nature, if it's included in the price. If it's not, that's just the additional cost that'll be incurred by the guest on a website. But they'll be able to go and log on with their record locator and their last name. Similarly, if you were to book directly to the airline on an app, on a website, on the service that way, so they can look and change their seats and do what have you that way too. And lastly, we do offer a unique element as well with private jet charter services. So our private jet charter services has access to about 80,000 private planes globally. And this can be as opulent as this Q500 going transatlantic, or can be a regional plane going from, let's say, from Flagstaff to Tucson, Arizona, or San Antonio to Dallas, Texas, or Minnesota to Chicago on a regional basis with a small amount of people. The unique element with our private jet charter service, it's a full concierge service as well. So we can act as the leasing agent, the brokerage, work in a net environment, a gross environment. We can add catering, et cetera, that way, all to your client's standards. And we take care of everything on our end. So rather than paying a subscription service or other fees that are included with other private jet operators, it's fully disclosed to you how everything is being charged. And we're that full concierge service looking up the best options for you in an email exchange return that you have this way. But it really is a great option to round out our full Regal Wings Air suite as well. So that's kind of everything we have to offer here. What I really want to focus on and kind of in summation is how Regal Wings really makes premium cabin airfare easy to work with, airfare breeze, looking at the support, skill, and service that we're able to offer, white glove concierge, really taking the stress out of airfare for you. If you have any questions whatsoever, my contact information is listed here on this slide. My name is Chaz Dunwoody. It's been my pleasure providing a training for you here today. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much.